Hey, Dave here. The other day I did excuse me, a video on comics, and I forgot to mention the ones that I was reading recently, which I do on my iPad, but I guess that might be why. Anyway, this is one of them right here. It's called Vietnam Journal, Indian Country, by the writer-artist Don Lomax. And yeah, I ran into one of his comics a long time ago, and his stuff's kind of hard to find, but I was happy to see that they were on here. But I can kind of show you some of the artwork like this. This is the first volume of it right here on Caliber Press. I think it originally came out on Apple, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just about Lomax, who was in Vietnam. And I can't say that these are total autobiography. I imagine a lot of these stories happened when he was over in Vietnam, but he's a really good penciler and inker. And like I said, a lot of these stories maybe came from stories of other men he had heard, or maybe things that had happened to him. But it's about this one guy here that's a journalist and was in Vietnam at the time. But anyway, if you're into war stories or, things about Vietnam, you'd probably really enjoy it, because I think the art in it is really good and the storytelling is as well. Let's see if I can do this. I also read this one here. I can't show the inside of it. It's Nightwing. Not really huge into superheroes per se. I mean, I certainly read them. I still read them and have enjoyed them in the past, but I really prefer something that's not quite so fantasy oriented, I guess, if you can say that, But it was okay. I didn't find it really, maybe 3.5 out of 5 stars, 3.5 out of 5 stars, something like that. This is another one, Criminal, by Ed Brubaker. And he's about one of my favorite writers today. He writes crime, and soon he's going to have shows on, I believe it's Amazon Prime on these, but as of yet, not so far. Read this one here too on Catwoman. It was pretty good. It took me a while to kind of get into it. It has pretty good art, and it has various artists in it. Darwin Cook does the first story, and yeah, he's a good artist. I wasn't taken by his story quite as much as the ones by Ed Brubaker, but he is a good artist, and I could enjoy it on some level. Not a huge Catwoman fan, but I mostly read it because of the Ed Brubaker writing some of the stories in it, and then Darwin Cook does some of the art in one of them. And but yeah, pretty interesting. Enjoyed the art and all that. Read Lock and Key too. Pretty interesting book. Written by Joe Hill, which is Stephen King's son. It's a horror comic. Welcome to Lovecraft. And they made a show about this on, I think it was Netflix. And I didn't like the show very much. Actually, I kind of thought the show was rather boring. I've only seen about the first 2 episodes, and I may return to it, but the art in this is by a guy named Gabriel Lopez. It's pretty stylized, but to tell you the truth, I didn't really have any problem with it once you start reading the story. Like I said, it's a horror comic. So, yeah, I didn't really have any trouble with the art at all because all of it's pretty plain, and I didn't really see any panels or whatever that kind of threw me off. Sometimes the panels, you can't hardly tell what they're doing, but once you get used to his art style, I thought it was pretty plain and went with the story really well. But anyway, that's by Joe Hill and Gabriel Lopez. This is what I'm currently reading. This is Photographic Memory, which is a story about a settler, or a photographer, excuse me, back in the 1800s. And his name is William Henry Jackson. And he is a great-grandfather of Bill Griffiths, who is also a cartoonist. And, a lot of these skills from, say, a baseball player or, sport player or even a cartoonist or whatever, musicians, it seemed like they go through the bloodline, or they're picked up from from people later on in the family. This is a really interesting story about his great-grandfather. And Bill Griffith used to do Zippy the Pinhead a long time ago. You'd see sometimes in Free Press, stuff like that. But he has switched over to doing things that are, to me anyway, a lot more meaningful, like this thing here. And his grandfather was a photographer, and very early on he established himself as such in the Old West in the 1800s. This is a picture of the Old West, probably that his grandfather, or Bill Griffiths, drew, depicting something his grandfather did. But anyway, like I said, he was a pretty famous photographer that influenced Ansel Adams, who is also a pretty well-known photographer. But I think he did well with the art. I'm enjoying the story pretty good too. So, yeah, interesting book here on comic book by Bill Griffiths, whose art I've always liked. His stuff looks hand-drawn. It's not overly embellished, but you can see the hands-on approach he does to his art. So I think that is about all of it. Let me see here real quick that I've read here lately. Yeah, that should do it. Anyway, we'll talk to you later. Have a good weekend.